Adventures in Retouching with Rob DiCaterino.
Welcome to Adventures in Retouching. I'm Rob DiCaterino. Today's guest is my friend and my colleague, fellow retoucher, Matthew Policastro. Welcome, Matt.
How you doing, Rob?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
So I am in New Jersey. Where are you?
Also in New Jersey.
Right. So we're both in New Jersey. We're both retouchers. We're both in the New York City area. So let's talk about our experiences and have fun. Obviously, it's just casual. I'm here outside. You're in your home, and just a fun, casual conversation, but informative and helpful and valuable. If you just start off and walk me through your background.
Okay, so my background started in the fine arts. Ever since through school, I did a lot of painting, drawing, gifted and talented, going to Arts High, and then eventually getting accepted to Montclair State University for college. Went in as a art teacher. I went into the art education program, hoping to get it through and go from school to more school for the rest of my life, school. And along the way, I discovered photography, and that's what made me break that original decision to become a full-time educator. In college, I had some great experiences with my photography professor and a lot of the people in the program, and it seemed like something I can do to make money. So I changed my major and ended up graduating with a degree in photography. So after graduation, I had been given the opportunity to become a photographer for a wedding and event local studio. And I took that opportunity and was in that opportunity for a little too long. So I spent about 12 years as a wedding photographer and a post-production manager for a local New Jersey wedding studio. And that led me along the path of post-production and getting my hands wet with Photoshop and becoming the go-to fix-it guy in our company. And with any kind of retouching requests from clients would go through me. And I would also design a lot of the album layouts and order prints and manufacture and put together albums for our clients.
And then what did that lead to?
So that led to me trying to escape that job for reasons of starting a family and needing more stability and a career I can, really take off with and go places with, and also support my growing family, and not have to work every single day of my life and be at weddings all weekend long and then be at the studio all week long, just working way too much, I felt like. So wanted to kind of simplify my career and give me a one straight path to something that I was enjoying at the time, which was post-production. And I had started looking for positions as a retoucher. When looking for jobs, I originally wanted to maybe get my life into the fashion realm of photography, and I was looking for photography positions and also discovered that there were these positions for retouchers and post-production people. So I figured, since I have so much experience being a post-production manager for a studio, I figured that could kind of lend me a foot in the door somewhere to learn a new profession, which turned out to be e-com retouching, which has many different moving parts and different people that do different things. Had not had any experience there, so it was hard to find someone to give me the opportunity, I feel like, to get my foot in the door, as we were saying, and get a chance at something new and learn something new, and really didn't know how deep you can go with the career until I really started getting into it. So, I knew that there was a structure, obviously, when I interviewed with you and Net-a-Porter, and I understood that there was, different levels and different, you could have a manager, a team lead, level 1, 2, 3. There was a whole ladder of corporate, progression for the role as a retoucher. So learning about that and getting into that was what really helped me understand that you really can have a career that can go somewhere being in post-production as a retoucher.
And you still shoot, right? You still enjoy photography.
Yes, yeah, I do. I shoot. I have 2 little girls. I do a lot of portraiture photography for families. Even still some events. I'll do some weddings here and there and pick up the camera when I can. But also just taking pictures of my children all the time. And it's more fun now more than work when it comes to shooting.
It's something that you still love.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
For sure.
Good. Yeah. Good. Mm-hmm. When you had decided to move on from the wedding studio, it had been 12 years. Did you even know that a career in retouching was a thing?
Not really. I mean, I felt like I had some knowledge of it, but I didn't really. I had no friends at the time that were professional retouchers. I didn't have any insight into the structure of teams and how it works. And, it was just always like, oh, you can always fix that in Photoshop. That's like, it just become like a Photoshop thing. It's like, oh, that's the Photoshop guy, like that's kind of what it was in my industry at the time, the event industry. You just had a guy who could like take out people in the background or things in the background, like object removal, fix mistakes, fix lighting. I had no idea that it was such a big career realm, and it's a good thing that it was, because when I got into it, it helped for sure, like give me a clear vision of where I wanted to go with it.
So you still love and enjoy shooting and photography.
Right.
Do you love and enjoy retouching?
Sometimes more, I feel like. I feel like it's very repetitive, structured things that you know what's going to happen. You don't get thrown wrenches with retouching. It's black and white. It's here's an image, it needs to be finished. It's not that when you're creating photography, you're trying to make something out of nothing. You're coming up with the idea, the concept, the everything. You're just, now I'm in this position where I have something that needs to be finished, and we're given these images to finish, and we're the finishers. So it's very predictable, which I like.
So what attracted you to or what continues to attract you to retouching? What do you enjoy about it and love about it so much?
I love beating deadlines. I think that's one of my favorite things, is coming in ahead of a deadline at least a week or two, and like, having a lot of breathing room and keeping, my art director happy and keeping our company rolling in a good position, so that we're not hung up and delayed with releases. And, it helps make the company money to be ahead of time. So the more we can get our things done efficiently, I like learning ways to make it faster and faster and faster and more efficient and more quality along the way. It's gratifying to be able to be a part of that, I feel like.
And what situation are you in, right? Or what role are you in right now?
Currently, I'm the post-production manager for Rebecca Taylor. It's a contemporary women's fashion brand. We handle all the e-com and all the on-fig and flat imagery that we put up on the website. And I'm also in charge of the back end of getting these images up to our website to be able to link them to our PDPs and make sure that we have images that represent the product that we're selling, so that people can shop online with confidence and really know what they're going to get from the product.
What's PDP?
The PDP is the product display page. So each product has their own page that these images need to be linked to.
Okay.
A little bit of lingo for the site that I work for. So.
Can you explain the nature of luxury fashion e-com? Just being in that setting, can you give our viewers just a little idea?
I can give an idea of being in 2 different settings. When we were together back at Net-a-Porter, the imagery was important, the angles were important, the quality was important. Where I'm at now, the difference is I'm not working for a department store online. I'm working for a designer. The difference there is this is our product. This is our pride in our product. This is our product that we need to sell. If we sell a lot of it, we all succeed. So the difference being, I feel like what we see at Rebecca Taylor is something we all helped bring to the people. You know, it's something that our team creates, and then it comes to us. They come to set, they make sure it looks the way they want it. We make sure it looks the way that represents our brand. And we all come together to make this product come to life on the internet so that people can purchase.
What's the pace?
I feel like it depends on the company you work for, the amount of product that comes through the doors. At Net-a-Porter, we did a lot, and there was a ton of us there. Rebecca Taylor, it's a little bit of a slower pace. We don't have to go as crazy as we did at NAP. We have a little bit longer of a time frame to get things turned around. We shoot early in the month. It has to be up on the website by the end of the month so that our merchandisers can get it live at the beginning of the next month. So we have basically a month's turnaround for most of the work that we do.
Can you describe your setup and any hardware you use, your software tools, or any go-to tools?
Sure. I run on a 2018 MacBook Pro. It has an i7 processor in it. I believe I have 16 gigs of RAM, 500 gig SSD hard drive, and I also use a Wacom Intuos Pro Medium, one of the newer ones with the newer pen, the Pen 2, I believe, the Pro Pen 2. These are just go-tos for me. I couldn't imagine doing it on anything else. You know, the Wacom Tablet is just, it's better than a mouse. It's easier for me. I spend an entire day on it. I don't go back and forth from a mouse to a pen tablet. I just use a pen tablet. It's just easier for me, just for using a computer in general.
How about software?
Software, Photoshop, use Adobe Bridge. We use Capture One for our sessions. What else do we use softwares wise? I mean, we do some video as well here and there, Premiere Pro, mostly Adobe products and Capture One.
While you're retouching, what are your go-to tools?
I can't ever get away from the pen. I feel like the pen tool. That's the most versatile way to make any selection better. I feel like I used every tool for the most part, and throughout an image, just in different stages of finishing. You know, no tool is wrong, no tool is not usable. There's tools I may not use as much, but they're all pretty much things you need along the way.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned that use all the tools. No tool is unusable. They're all usable. They all have their place and time place. I have worked with people, hey, everyone has different philosophies. So I have worked with people in the past who their philosophy was they looked down on certain tools, like, oh, you're using that tool. Oh, that's for a baby, or that's for beginners, or that. Hey, it's a tool, and I'm gonna use it. If this situation calls for a nice, easy, quick tool, I'm gonna use a nice, easy, quick. Like, who am I trying to impress? That's my philosophy.
Right. Everything's different for everybody. It doesn't matter what tool is your favorite. I mean, as long as the end product looks good, that's really what it's all about.
Yeah, there's no shame in using something like a lasso or magic wand or quick select or quick mask, or I mean anything. But the only thing that I say is, as long as you know other tools. Because if I only know, like I'll use myself as an example. When I was starting out, I'm just going to lasso everything because I don't know the other tools. I don't know magnetic lasso. I don't know luminosity masks or channels or color range or any of those. So I'm just lassoing everything. And that's okay. But am I being the most efficient I can be? Well, no, because if I know 8 different other selection tools and approaches. Well, each image that I open up is its own situation. And now if I know 8 or 9 different selection tools and methods, I open up the photo, I assess the situation. I say, oh, in this case, I'm going to use select color range. In this case, I'm going to use the lasso. In this case, I'm going to use the pen tool. In this case, it just makes me much more efficient and therefore more valuable as a retoucher. So no shame in using any tool as long as you're just not stuck on that one tool and you know the other tools. That's my advice. You have to know all the tools.
Totally agree. But also at work, I have an iMac, 27-inch iMac, and we use Mac Minis for capture at our capture station. Makes everything easy. I can just move it around easier because we kind of move our space for the showroom. So sometimes we're showing our product there, and other times we're shooting the product there. So we have to kind of have a versatile space that we can take things, move them, pack them away. And also I deal with a lot of the equipment in our location when we shoot. So I'm helping freelancers get set up and making sure that we order the right stuff that we don't have in-house. My role is a little bit hands-on with the day of the shoot and also completely doing everything in the post end. So my background in photography helps a lot.
So yeah, just like Photoshop, the more tools someone knows, the more valuable and efficient that person will be, but also the more adjacent skills that a person knows, that's very valuable as well. So here's an interesting question. What does retouching mean to you? What is retouching?
I like to look at it as a more of a finishing art form. So it's not, the art happens when you create the image. It's the relationship between the photographer and its subject, and that photographer and the art director may have a vision for this image, but it doesn't look just perfect yet. And that's where retouchers come in. We finish the image, we make it look its absolute best. We're not trying to completely lie or tell a fictitious tale about a product. We're just here to try to help sell it, especially in the e-com realm that we are. I feel like seeing an image come off set and then seeing it when it's ready for retouch approval is like night and day sometimes. And I think that's the art form of making something look its best and not making it look fake is kind of like our job. We're artists in our own way.
So as a retoucher, you're receiving the photos that are shot on set. How do you know what to retouch? Are you deciding what to retouch? Is someone else? Can you walk us through?
For my current role, I work for the brand, so I'm also a representative of the brand. I know the clothes. I know how it's supposed to look. I know that the way art direction want things to be. So my art director puts a lot of trust in my eye. He knows that I know how things should fit for the most part. We've already shot some of these things for marketing, so they've also come through for our lookbook. So I've seen the clothes before. These clothes are finally coming to production and they're finally going live on the website. So I've been around these clothes for a little while, so I kind of know how it fits, how it's supposed to look, what prints are right, what prints are wrong, which things are changing. We go through a lot of these things internally. So we know what needs to be fixed. We know what may need to be reshot if it's not perfect. We know what lengths are not right for a taller model. We know a lot of those things already. And when I come off set and I sit down with the original selects, I take the whole session and I sit together with my art director and we kind of go down and make our final selects together. And during that time, we make all our retouching notes.
So just starting out, right? Again, the purpose of this show is to help people get an idea of, hey, what is retouching? Retouching is an option. It's a career path. There's this thing called retouching, and that could be your job. And also to help people understand, help them maybe get their foot in the door, pivot into a new career. And just to give that understanding. So a lot of people think like, oh yeah, I have a really good eye. I want to be a retoucher. Give me the photos. I'll decide what to do. And it's like, well, yes, you need a good eye. You have to have a certain taste level. You have to have a certain aesthetic, certain skill level. But it really is a collaboration. You're not handed the images and like, okay, you're the retoucher, do retouching. No, it's the art directors, the creative directors, the brand, the marketing people, the buyers, merch people. Everyone has input into what the retoucher does. So just like just like with editing a movie, a Hollywood film. Steven Spielberg doesn't just hand you the files or the film reels like, okay, edit the movie now. I'll see you in a week. It's like, no, he sits there.
Fully trust you guys. You guys just take care of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Here's the Jurassic Park raw footage. You edit it. You're the editor. No, it's I'm the editor. I'm the retoucher. You sit with me and we go through it together. It's a collaboration.
Absolutely. Yeah.
On that note, what is your relationship with the other studio teams? Can you explain that?
We all work together. We have like pre-shoot meetings where we all come together and we talk about, this is what we still need to shoot that we missed, that wasn't available. Here's what we have to shoot for now. And here's what we can shoot into for the next delivery if we can, if we have time, additions. Our cross work between our departments kind of only does internal. They trust us completely to get things shot. We do it ourselves with the help of freelancers. So we have a photo producer in-house, and we have our art director, and we also have a senior art director for design and everything else that makes bigger decisions for our visuals and what we do and what we're going to turn out. So on a shoot day, we could have a lot of people on set, a lot of different moving parts. Designers actually come in, heads of designs come in, just to make sure that the right clothes are here. We have to make sure that we have the right sample. We can't be shooting samples that have changed, so they can make call outs on set if they notice something that's wrong. A lot of the time it can happen, especially in a situation where you have a showroom that's got stuff moving in and out all the time. Sometimes we send out our pieces to Nordstrom's or Neiman Marcus or whoever's selling it. We got to make sure we get that right piece back before our shoot. So we're working together with a lot of different teams internally to make sure that our product is present for when we need it and when we need to shoot it. But as it goes for the creative part, our art director, he's kind of in control of the pace of the day, how the feeling's going to be on set, how the models are moving. If he doesn't like how a model is moving, he may have to talk to them, or we make decisions on set and are trusted by our higher ups in creative, because we have other creative departments, to bring the Rebecca Taylor image to life and represent our clothes the way that we need it to be represented.
As a retoucher, as a retouching manager, what's your involvement on set?
I have my little cave that I call it in the back where I stay and I continue to retouch and work on projects that we have that we've already shot. And I'm called on to set to make judgments whether or not it should be reshot, or this pinup looks good. Is this retouchable? Can you make this length longer? I do get called back up to set a lot for that. Before we start shooting, I make sure that lighting is right and I sign off on everything before we start the session for the day.
So Matt, how have you evolved as a retoucher, and what has helped you in that evolution?
That's a good question. I'd have to say I've gotten more experience in different techniques and a million different ways to do one thing in Photoshop. So I've liked to try to find all those other million ways to do it and figure out if I can find out a way for me to make myself more efficient. Always looking to get faster, make new actions in Photoshop, and just really like keep what I do fast, efficient, and keep my quality high as I can. I try to still watch tutorials and I was at Adobe Max this year, to go to those type of big events and really see what's going on in the industry and to see what Adobe has planned for us as creatives is really something that we should all try to do if we can, and keep ourselves on top of the changes in the industry and evolve along with it, because you might get left behind, and we don't want to get left behind. So
Now, earlier you mentioned Capture One. How do you feel about tools other than the Adobe tools?
Capture One, I have a long relationship with, going back to being in post for the wedding studio I work for. We used to use it to process our images when we were making the switch from like film to digital. I used it a lot. I mean, it was their go-to. It was before Lightroom even existed. Capture One has it absolutely right when it comes to tethering and shooting on set. Lightroom isn't quite the way it needs to be. But for post-processing, Lightroom is fantastic. I definitely have no problems using a program that's outside of Adobe. It's pretty needed in the industry as Capture One. I know I was looking for, in the past, a way to sort raw quicker and get through raw images quicker. I think it was Mechanics or something. You remember that program? I think it still exists. But I was looking for something that could really bring that raw image to its full resolution quickly, or at least load like a thumbnail quickly that you can really get through it. But I feel like Bridge has come a long way since then, and it's really totally useful to use Bridge in the same way that I was looking for that program to work for me. So sometimes these other programs start popping up that you think, well, oh, it's way better and it's going to be better than Adobe, but then Adobe finds ways to either buy them or buy their ideas and make it work for them so that nobody uses anything but Adobe. But I don't know. I mean, if they could come out with something, it would have to feel like Photoshop. If you're looking just for like a new Photoshop, they would have to basically use Photoshop as their idea and their design, because people are it's the standard.
How about any feelings about the mobile versions of the app?
Mobile Photoshop, I actually enjoy on the iPad. I really like the idea of being able to work on an iPad and then bring that straight back to your laptop or your desktop and really do your final finishing there. So while I was in LA at Adobe Max, I was messing around with my iPad a lot, like trying to use it. Not all the functionality is there, so it's not exactly like Photoshop. Photoshop is going to eventually be kind of like Lightroom is going mobile. It'll be one app for desktop and for mobile. So I think that's kind of the way everything's going right now. So you're not going to have two different programs. You'll have one program that works on everything.
Matt, what type of retouching is your favorite?
Probably like object removal. That's probably been my job my whole life that I've always took a lot of pride in. If I can make it look like something was never there, and you can make it look like you can't even tell, you can't even like look through and see a moved pixel or something, and it just like, if you're using like two images that you've seamlessly put together, that's pretty much my favorite aspect of retouching, is taking out unwanted objects.
How do you feel about over-retouching, and what are your thoughts about the line between, quote, good retouching versus dangerous retouching?
Over retouching can be cringeworthy sometimes if you see it. I think as retouchers, we see it more than others, or just bad retouching in general. I mean, photography in general and as a whole is a lie. It's been a lie ever since its creation. We've found ways to negative sandwich and burn in things that weren't there and dodge things that we want to avoid throughout time. So the whole process has been kind of a lie as it is, but there's kind of a fine line where it's, let's just stay a little hands off. We've gone far enough. Let's just let it be what it is right now. And you need to know when to step away from an image. And that goes for all forms of art, I feel like.
Is there such thing as dangerous retouching?
I think body profile modification gets a little dangerous sometimes. If in France there were passing laws where you couldn't change the body image of a model, because a lot of models were getting, I believe it was more like they were getting suicidal and they were so worried about their body image. So I think there's a fine line there that that can be crossed a lot and should never be overdone.
So you're a retouching manager. Let's pretend that your team is expanding and you get to hire a junior retoucher. What are things you're looking for on the resume, on the website, in the portfolio?
Thinking back to my own experience, I wish I had more internships. I feel like that helps a lot. That'd be something I'd be looking for on a resume. Has this person had any experience with companies that do shoot or have studios or do their own internal retouching? Has this person had any interest in photography or personal photography experience in the past? I'd like to see that on the resume. But definitely the internship route is something that I wish I had when I was younger. I see resumes sometimes even just for our interns and they have already had 5 or 6, and that's great. And I think that's what people need to do these days. And it also helps them figure out whether or not they want to be in that industry and see how hard it is for people or how easy it is or how they may have a passion for it or may not. So I think it helps them know where they want to go.
Does a person have to specifically have a retouching internship?
I would think a role within a studio, but some type of Photoshop experience or need or want to learn about Photoshop would be great.
How about on a website or on a web portfolio? What's something that you would hope to see there from a junior retoucher?
Good before and afters for sure. Good eye for, even if it's just their own personal work and they shot it, just a good eye for composition. If they're making composites and things like that, just looking for, consistencies. They don't have to be the best retoucher, obviously, at a junior level. They just have to be willing to learn and become a better retoucher. If they know basic things and they want to learn more, I think that's what you're really looking for in a junior level retoucher for sure.
What are the basic fundamentals that person needs to know?
At a junior level, I would at least be able to look at one of their tests and know that they can maintain layers, see that they made selections at least good enough to have the basic understanding of the selection tools, look at some of their anchor points or some of their paths that they had created if they use the pen tool. I would think they'd have to have a basic understanding and knowledge of layering, the system of layering, adjustment layers. I'm not looking for really in-depth selections or crazy good selections. I'm just looking for good selections that I can teach them a little bit more to get even better selections.
Do you have any good stories, any good memories, funny stories, anecdotes from your experience so far as a retoucher? Anything that sticks out?
There's a lot. There's a lot of things that have happened along my career path that I remember, some good, some bad. But I do remember a lot back at Net-a-Porter where we worked together, where you took me on as a junior. I learned a lot from one-on-ones with a lot of our teammates. I learned a lot with one-on-ones with you. We just had a lot more fun there. I felt like we were a big team. We had a lot of support with each other because we were all working together to a common goal of finishing a list every day. So I do remember the camaraderie and the fun when we were able to close big lists and when we thought we couldn't. or thought we would have had to spend a late night or two there, and it turned out we didn't because we got it done. Also, some of the fun things we used to do there. What was it called? The Pit is Right? Was that the game?
Some games, yeah, different games, yeah.
Games that we would do with our counterparts in the UK. I do remember a lot about being a part of a huge team was really cool and a great experience for me. And I took a lot from every single person that worked there, and I learned a lot from every single person that worked there. So that would be some of the more memorable things and fun things. And, leaving there bittersweet and moving on to New York City and really taking on more serious position for myself was a huge goal an accomplishment for myself. So that's also pretty memorable too.
What ideas do you have for your future?
I want to continue to stay in the post-production career path. I'm manager level now, so look forward to becoming a director or a senior manager. I'm still very hopeful and happy to be working in a large corporation, and then that just got even larger. And I look forward to a lot of the future that we have to come when we all get back to our daily grind over there. So.
Any final thoughts, any tips, advice, ideas, anything that I didn't think of?
If somebody out there really wants to become a retoucher, there's so many resources available to you. There's, I use Learn.com. I still have a membership. There's tons of things on YouTube of people just showing every which way under the sun to get something done and do it right and do it beautifully. So, for anyone out there that wants to learn, there's ways to learn. You don't need to know someone. You don't need the job. You can. YouTube has a plethora of information that you have at your fingertips that you can just suck up on the weekends if you have to. If you're looking for a career change, just get on there and learn as much as you can. And if you do have a friend or a colleague or somebody who does know Photoshop and it's something you want to learn, pick their brain, sit with them, shadow them, see what they do, make notes, and then try different techniques. And if you don't keep trying to do something different, you'll never progress as a retoucher, I feel like. So.
Yeah, actually, you mentioned, to go along with that, you mentioned earlier the Wacom Tablet, and I would recommend, you don't have to buy a $400, $500 model, the Pro model, or even the more expensive Cintiq one. You can buy a $50, $60 little small size Wacom Draw, Wacom Artist, or whatever they're calling them now. They're fine. It's going to feel so weird and so awkward at first that I can't do it. I have to go back to the mouse. Don't go back to the mouse. Stick with the pen tablet. Give it a week. Give it 1 or 2 weeks every day, 1 or 2 weeks. I promise you, after 2 weeks, it will feel so natural and so much better, and just your lines and and pressure sensitivity, and you can set button. Oh, it's just, you have to do it. You have to buy a $50 tablet and just practice for a week or two.
Yeah, I agree.
Is there an ideal temperament or personality for a retoucher, or are there some personality traits that it just wouldn't make sense for somebody to be a retoucher?
Sure. I mean, you're going to be sitting in front of a computer for long hours. So if you're the type that doesn't like to sit in a dark room and stare at a screen, this isn't the profession for you. You have to kind of want to be locked in with your headphones on and just concentrating on working on image after image after image. If you don't have that type of focus and you want to be involved and talk to a lot of people all day long and just really be in a more social environment, not that we don't socialize as retouchers, it's just you can't when you're working because you have to concentrate. But if you're the type who needs to be constantly moving on the go, retouching is probably not right for you. So, so I'd say you have to be comfortable with long hours in a chair at a computer screen for sure.
How about the criticism aspect or the rejection aspect? Can you speak to that?
If you're going to defend what you do and your ways and your techniques without saying, hey, maybe I should just do it that way, or maybe, hey, maybe they're right, maybe I should try something new, or push myself harder or learn a new technique, then art in general is not a great career path for anyone who can't take a creative criticism at all. It's something that you need to be able to do as an artist, let alone a retoucher.
I remind people that I explain to them, are you prepared for 8 hours of rejection a day? And I don't
Pretty
say
much,
that,
yeah.
and I don't say that in a mean way. It's just, it's the nature of the beast. So you have to have that patience that resilience, it's just the nature of the beast.
Yeah, it goes for design as well. I mean, as a graphic designer or anything, you're going to go through rounds of rejection, and it's sometimes they have unrealistic expectations, and you have to kind of let them in on what their unrealistic expectations are and really give them a reality check as to what's possible, because they think, especially with Photoshop, they think it's like a magic button. It's just like, oh.
Well, Matt, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure.
Thanks, Rob, for having me. Yeah.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yep.
I love talking with you and just hearing your experience, and hey, we're helping people. We're helping
Sure.
our viewers learn about our experience, learn about what it is to be a retoucher, learn that this is an option in life as an artist, as a photographer, everyone comes to retouching from a different path. So it's interesting to learn these things, and it's informative and very helpful and useful. So thank you so much. Matt, where can people find you online?
You can probably find me. I think I have a private Instagram, but you can always send me a request. Matthew Policastro on Instagram. On LinkedIn, I'm also under my name, Matthew Policastro. You can send me a connect request. I do have a portfolio website, MatthewPolicastro.com. And my LinkedIn is best ways to get in touch with me professionally, for sure.
Excellent. Matt, thank you so much. I appreciate
Thanks for having
it.
me, Rob.
Thank you for watching Adventures in Retouching. I'm Rob DiCaterino. Stay tuned. We have more guests coming up, more information. Thank you so much, and see you soon. Thank you.